Hey friends, so today I wanted to talk about some stories in the news this past week about retailers and their use of biometric facial recognition, other types of surveillance tracking, including using Wi-Fi identifiers. And that's actually one reason and motivation that I made the Wi-Pri script and service. So if you want protection against this kind of thing, you can even use the W flag and combine it with any other flags. And what that will do is it'll actually automatically turn off your Wi-Fi radio once you leave the saved network range. So if you walk out of your house and you forget to turn off Wi-Fi, simply adding this W flag, and you can also have that start at boot, will automatically turn off after about 7 or 8 minutes without interfering with your current network. So it's not going to disconnect you from networks you're currently using. So check that out. If you're interested in a solution, I try to offer stories of problems and also offer solutions wherever possible. This particular one from BuzzFeed is several years old, 5 years old. You can also disable Bluetooth. There's a hashed out line to disable Bluetooth in Wi-Fi, and you're able to simply delete that hash mark and it'll also disable Bluetooth at the same time. We have a list of stores that are using facial recognition, biometric tracking, and Fight for the Future had interviewed them, and certain stores would respond, and Walmart is one of the ones that said they won't use it. Kroger's says they won't use it. Walgreens has said they might use it. So Home Depot says they won't use it. Target says they won't use it. Lowe's says they won't use it. Now, what's surprising about that is this latest story here from Reclaim the Net, and Lowe's has actually introduced surveillance robots that monitor license plates, your mobile devices, using Wi-Fi. In fact, it mentions right here on the Verge article that relates this particular surveillance drone robot Nightscope, which is the one that Lowe's is actually using, says it has options for different types of surveillance, but it utilizes, for the most part, the 90% of adults who have smartphones with Wi-Fi. So it will be using the MAC address, and even, as I've covered in previous videos, the saved network list, which your phone is sharing with all of the Wi-Fi sensors in the area. So if you have a saved network, someone can use something like Wiggle, which has a database and exact locations of every Wi-Fi network. So if you get your face scanned, you have your phone scanned, and the vicinity is tracked using that signal strength, which is another reason Wi-Fi also offers, signal randomization, which is experimental, but I've checked it out with some different sensors, and it, of course, does benefit the user. Fact is that surveillance has really been a large-scale implementation and relates back all the way back to slavery. Essentially, data collection, all of this mass surveillance stuff. It's all about discrimination, whether that's racial or otherwise. Your data is used to discriminate, whether that's getting a loan and being discriminated for the data collected on your internet usage, which can be used in credit scores and has been actually suggested by the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Large banks have suggested using your internet history to implement changes to your credit score. So if you have a care about your finances and your ability to get lower rates on loans, you should care about surveillance. You should care about this data that is used to discriminate against you and others. And that's all surveillance really is good for, is a form of discrimination in so many different ways of discriminating against people. And that's what we're going to see in the future. It's going to be used to discriminate against people for different reasons, to offer different prices to other users who may be recognized more often. And that's one thing, we see with the face masks from the whole, situation over the last 3 years. I'm not sure if these keywords are going to affect the video, so you know what I'm talking about. And I do recommend using face masks. I mean, why not take advantage of the normalization of face masks? You have a right to protect your privacy, and you might even protect yourself in other ways by wearing one. So yes, I'm absolutely pro masks. I think it's awesome that face masks have been normalized in the last 3 years. I think it is a great benefit to those who actually do care about their privacy, and those who are against others wearing masks essentially are for submitting to facial recognition, in my opinion. It does appear that way, and I'm sure those who run these mass surveillance companies would love for you to dissuade others from wearing a face mask. And of course, it's your right whether you wear one or not, but just realize that your face is being scanned in retail lots, in all different situations. Your biometrics, your unique fingerprint that makes up who you are, is being tracked across ranges. In fact, there's another recent story I posted about on Mastodon that was covering how over the last 6 years, the FBI and IARPA, which is like DARPA for intelligence, has been working on facial recognition systems which allow them to go camera to camera to track people across range up to 500 or more feet away. And so this is something that was kind of worked on in secret in a way, because it was not something that went through a democratic process where there was any kind of vote on it. It was done behind the scenes with the bureaucracies, and they created some kind of dystopian Skynet mass surveillance tracking system that allowed them to track people across different cameras and street cameras, retail cameras. There is an effort to link all of this stuff together. Ring doorbell was forced, or at least there was a warrant presented to get inside a man's home. So his indoor cameras. So you have to realize, if you install these large corporate cloud-based camera systems, well, heck, you're already relying on the cloud itself. And if that cloud somehow goes down, you don't have a surveillance or security system. Not only that, but you don't own the footage. You have to deal with the fact that anyone can request your indoor camera footage at any time and possibly already has access via that cloud-based system. And this is just my opinion, bear in mind. I do believe the whole cloud, trend began in order for data collection to better and easily occur. That's my opinion, and it's another thing to think about, and why you should host your own security cameras. If you're going to have security cameras, host your own storage. Don't rely on clouds to protect your security. You never know when something like that is going to have its own problems that are going to then fall down on you. And you don't own the footage. It's not even on your server. So Home Depot says they won't use it. Target says they won't use it. Lowe's says they won't use it, but as we just mentioned, they already have these robots out there. They're already using it. And so you can actually take a look. I have a video of it right here for you. Has some kind of strange sound coming out of it. And of course, it's has sensors to track you by your Wi-Fi devices, and as I covered previously, your hearing aids. If you wear hearing aids, do they have Bluetooth? Well, your Bluetooth hearing aids are also trackable, making you a 24 hours a day trackable individual by the wireless Bluetooth in hearing aids that supply them. So if you care about that kind of thing, you might want to go for hearing aids that don't have Bluetooth, or at least allow you to somehow turn them off. Amazon is also facing a lawsuit right now in New York because they are using biometric tracking in this allegation. And in New York, there is a law. It's one of the few places that actually has this law where you have to post on the front of your storefront if you are using biometric facial recognition tracking of any kind. And so they didn't actually have it. They didn't have the appropriate signage. And just keep this part in mind. This is just New York that has this regulation and law forcing outlets and retailers to post these signs. Imagine the other places that don't have said laws, how many of those retailers are actually using it. And you can utilize this list, which I'm going to leave a link to, so you can take a look for yourself and see what's actually happening. And they might need to update this, especially since the news about Lowe's. Lowe's appears to be one that is actually really gravitated towards this kind of technology. Now, Albertsons also is using biometric tracking information. Now, I should put a little minor thing about Lowe's. They say they're not using the facial recognition part. They're using the Wi-Fi identifiers of your smartphone and other Wi-Fi based devices, and likely Bluetooth as well, I have no doubt. McDonald's might use them. H-E-B grocery store won't use. Macy's are using, and you can learn more here. There's different factoids you can find out about each one of these. You have Macy's using them. You have 7-Eleven might use them. Costco won't use them. CVS won't use them. Best Buy might use them. Publix might use them. Now, if it says might use them, you can bet they likely will, given the right opportunity, have them implemented. If not already have them implemented, they might not want to comment in detail on their current security systems. So just be aware and use your best judgment if you care about protecting your rights. If people like myself weren't here to speak out, this is the thing. This is the reason I made this channel, because I realize that if we do not set the narrative, we allow others to set the narrative for us. And if we do not speak, our silence is consent for these things. And so I have put a lot of time into trying to speak out about what's happening with this type of surveillance technology and how it can be used to discriminate against you in the future. What it is being used for today is just the smallest, most insignificant detail on how it will be used in the future. This data will be used for other means in the future. And what people should realize is that when you give up your personal and private data, identifiers, things like that, you are giving power to someone else to have power over you. And when you are implementing solutions like I present here on the channel, you are actually getting power back, and you have more control over the outcome, over your future, and over the ability of companies to discriminate against you using data collection, because it is purely a discriminating technology, and that is essentially what it is used for. So TJX might use, Aldi might use, Dollar General might use. Just to remember, the might uses probably are using, so just consider it. Dollar Tree says they won't. Verizon says they won't. Kohl's says they might. Imagine they are. Starbucks says they won't. Ace Hardware says they might. And of course, there is a lot of this being introduced as a convenience factor, saying, oh, you can pay with your face. Yeah, you can pay with your face. And you can also pay with your data. You were just shopping and you couldn't decide. Maybe they will mark you as a suspicious person. And at that point, you'll be blacklisted across all of the stores that may be using that system. Make sure to share the video, and I will be back later with more on how to protect your privacy.